SummerSlam is finally here, meaning it is time for another PLE preview. SummerSlam 2025, in my opinion, hasn't necessarily felt like it got the tender love and care that the first two-night SummerSlam should have. A lot of the feuds in this year's SummerSlam have felt kind of rushed, and they have been rushed because WWE decided to load up on a weekend in an attempt to try to outdo AEW. And in my opinion, doing all of that really kind of hurt this year's SummerSlam build in what should have felt like a WrestleMania like build, which would make sense considering it feels like they're trying to make SummerSlam into WrestleMania for the summer. But considering a lot of these feuds have been really rushed and some of these matches were just kind of thrown on last minute, SummerSlam feels like it was a bit of a weird build. Now, in saying all that, this year's SummerSlam should be very, very good. A lot of the matches, while yes, the feuds were kind of rushed and a little bit all over the place, that should not take away from the fact that the matches themselves should be fantastic. So enough of me yapping, let's get on to SummerSlam 2025. We are obviously going to start with Saturday night, night one of SummerSlam. And we are going to start with the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match between the champions, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, taking on the team of Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. A match that actually has me kind of excited because the more we've seen Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, the more and more I've started to like them as a team. And I just talked about it in a recent video that I made about Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair teaming up, and in that video I did mention that Alexa Bliss is one of my favorite superstars of all time, so of course anything involved with her I'm going to most likely enjoy. As for the side of Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez, I'm kind of excited to see where that story goes from here, whether they win or lose. Because right now, it seems like they want to give the Judgment Day all the gold, which makes me want to pick Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez to win, but I'm gonna end up going with Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss winning. Simply because I really genuinely think that WWE has something very fun on their hands with Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. It would be very reminiscent of Team Hell No. A tag team that should not work together, but it does, and they win tag team gold. That's what I think is going to happen here, and that's why I have Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair winning the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Up next, we have the World Heavyweight Championship match between Gunther and CM Punk. And this one to me has me so excited because even though the story between CM Punk and Gunther has really lacked, there are so many possible outcomes that could come from this match. Obviously, CM Punk, very involved with what Seth Rollins was doing. Seth Rollins, obviously injured, but did talk about wanting to get the title that he made famous back. And yes, I know he was going after John Cena and Cody Rhodes, but CM Punk winning would open the door for yet another round of CM Punk and Seth Rollins. Again, we obviously know that Seth Rollins is injured and we don't really expect to see him at SummerSlam. But we have seen stranger things happen in the WWE, and a cash-in on a winning CM Punk isn't necessarily out of the realm of possibility. Is it unlikely? Yes, 100% it's unlikely. But I still think it's on the table. I'm very excited to see where this match goes. And I almost feel like it needs to have something because, again, the story between Gunther and CM Punk is almost non-existent. We've gotten one, maybe two segments between the two, and we really didn't get anything, oh my god, from that segment. So, because of the kind of unknown factor of this match, I'm gonna end up going with CM Punk winning, simply because it opens the door back up for either a returning Seth Rollins or a Seth Rollins round 2 or 3 or 4 in the future. Up next, we have the tag team match between Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul taking on the team of Randy Orton and Jelly Roll. And I feel like this is one of the matches that has been getting the most talk about because we've seen these four show up on late night TV. We've seen these four have segment after segment, which has made for a very interesting story. A story that really hasn't been all that bad. We know what we're going to get out of Randy Orton. We know what we're going to get out of Drew McIntyre. We know what we're going to get out of Logan Paul. The big question mark is Jelly Roll. But what we have seen so far from Jelly Roll out of all of this is he looks pretty damn good. The very little that we have seen of him actually in the ring, pretty damn impressive, and his mic work has been off the charts good. And like I talked about earlier, for better for worse, this match has had the most talk about it. The good being Jelly Roll actually taking the time and actually caring about wanting to look good and wanting this match to be memorable as hell. The bad being that you have three main eventers locked into one match. And I think that was everyone's big issue with it, was not the fact that we were getting a Jelly Roll match, but it was who was also involved in said match. And I think it's pretty obvious who's going to win this match. I'm obviously going to pick Randy Orton and Jelly Roll to win. I don't see there being much of a chance for Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. Up next, we are going to look at the tag team match between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, taking on the team of Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. A match that, again, doesn't really have a ton of storyline going into it because it was just super rushed. But what we have gotten hasn't necessarily been terrible. We ended up getting the return of Roman Reigns, obviously, and we got the once again reuniting of Roman and Jey. And my last video talked about Jey Uso and Roman Reigns and the fact that Roman has yet to apologize, and that really bothers me. And a lot of people, including myself, were honestly kind of just hoping we would be able to get Roman Reigns versus Braun Breaker, because that match feels like it would be WrestleMania worthy, so it for sure would have been SummerSlam worthy. Again, I think a lot of people, including myself, would have preferred to see that match happen, but the tag team that we are getting isn't the worst alternative. Again, I'm sure the Seth Rollins injury played heavily into this match becoming a thing. But as I continue to go back and forth, I think it was kind of obvious a little bit that we are going to see Roman and Jey win. Jey Uso being one of the biggest babyfaces in the company, Roman Reigns, while I still wouldn't necessarily call him a babyface, is one of the most popular superstars in the company. You put them together, they're almost going to be a shoo-in to win, unless they want to throw a big old curveball, which is very possible, but I don't think that's going to be the case here. I think Roman Reigns, Jey Uso are going to defeat Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Up next, we have the match and the feud that, in my opinion, has irritated me the most. I am talking about the WWE Women's Championship match between Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill. This feud, this match, has felt dead from the very start, simply because we haven't gotten a ton between both Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton. We've got a fair amount of them, just not together. And with WWE having to rush things with this year's SummerSlam build, this feud just doesn't have anything going into it. Kind of similar to the Gunther versus CM Punk feud, where there's not a ton going into that match. With this match, there's hardly nothing. And I think this match has the potential to be the big stinker of this year's SummerSlam. We know how good Tiffany Stratton is in the ring. We know Jade Cargill can be good, but she really hasn't had that fantastic match that we're going to be talking about for years and years and years. And while Tiffany Stratton is very good in the ring, is she going to be able to kind of carry Jade Cargill through this match? So I'm really worried for this match. On paper, it sounds like it should be good, but when you do a more deep dive into it, again, we haven't gotten that classic Jade Cargill match, and it kind of worries me that the person that's probably going to be doing most of the leading through this match is Tiffany Stratton. Again, Tiffany Stratton is fantastic in the ring and one of my favorite superstars currently right now, but she is very, very young into her WWE career, and putting that type of pressure on her could be a recipe for disaster. Now, in saying all that, I think it's going to be Jade Cargill winning this match. I just think that with WWE giving her the Queen of the Ring win, I think it makes sense that WWE wants to continue to push her to the absolute moon. While I would like to see Tiffany Stratton win, I think WWE is going to continue to keep pushing Jade Cargill, and I think they're going to give her the big win at SummerSlam. Wrapping up night one of SummerSlam 2025, we're going to be taking a look at Sami Zayn taking on Karrion Kross. If you were to tell me at the beginning of 2025 that Karrion Kross would have not one, but two PLE matches, I would have said you're kind of crazy. But here we are, and Karrion Kross has yet another PLE match. And it's been really fun to see the rise of Karrion Kross as 2025 has gone along. A guy that should be the bad guy, but on a nightly basis gets some of the louder pops from the crowd. It's not just a testament to how good Karrion Kross has been this year, but how just damn popular the man really is. Now, unfortunately for Karrion Kross, he's going up against a guy who has seemingly rarely lost. A guy that WWE just has this fascination of having to make him look strong as hell. And that being Sami Zayn. And look, I don't have any issues with Sami Zayn. I have an issue with how they have been treating Sami Zayn. Constantly coming out with his ribs taped up and somehow finding a way to win. I get what they're trying to do with Sami Zayn, it's just not really working for me. And it's eventually going to get to a point where people aren't going to want to see Sami Zayn win anymore. And I don't think that's a place that WWE necessarily wants to go with Sami Zayn. So while I do really want to see Karrion Kross get the win at SummerSlam, get a big moment to not necessarily wrap up what has been a very good 2025 for him, but just get a big moment in general, which is something that he really hasn't had on the main roster. But unfortunately, again, he's going up against a guy who WWE is just wrapping in bubble wrap and protecting the hell out of him, and that's why I think Sami Zayn is going to win at SummerSlam. That takes us to night 2 of SummerSlam 2025, where we have the IC title match between Dominic Mysterio and AJ Styles. A feud that has actually been one of my favorites. Seeing the comedic side out of AJ Styles has been absolutely awesome to watch. And not just from AJ Styles, but also Dominic Mysterio, being the slimy heel, the not wanting to fight type of heel because he's hurt and he's got the doctor's notice. But this has been just such a fun feud to watch over the past couple weeks, because it's kind of kept you on your toes of where AJ Styles was going to pop up next. We obviously had him being the valet, we had him being the janitor, we had him being the WWE medical official. So we really had no idea where or what AJ Styles was going to look like whenever he did pop up against Dominic Mysterio. So it has been such a fun feud to watch unfold, and I do have AJ Styles actually winning this match and winning the IC title. And I think it makes sense on a number of reasons. One big reason being the fact that we know that AJ is getting towards the tail end of his career, and I think it'd be nice for WWE to give him this one last big moment before he rides off into the sunset on what has been one hell of a career. And also looking ahead for him, you have Clash in Paris coming up, and we obviously know that the French crowd loves AJ Styles, and imagine a championship entrance for AJ Styles in Paris. But not really looking too far ahead at Clash in Paris. I just think WWE wants to do right by AJ Styles and give him one last big moment before he rides off into the sunset. So that is why I have him beating Dominic Mysterio at SummerSlam. Up next, we have the United States Championship match between Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa in a steel cage match. And this feud has been one of the ones that has gone on for quite some time now, so we do actually have a pretty decent story going into it. We've obviously had Solo not necessarily rebuild his bloodline, but become the leader of something different. While I still am not completely sold on Solo's MFTs, I do think that they are going to play a massive role in this match, and I do think that Jacob Fatu is gonna look outmatched a lot. Now, in saying that, we are obviously most likely going to get some interference on the side of Jacob Fatu. My biggest fear is that all of these shenanigans that are going to take place in this match isn't going to hurt the steel cage stipulation even more than it already kinda has been after the whole Jesse Ventura rant on Saturday night's main event. So, in saying all of that and the wild shenanigans that we're all but certain going to get throughout this match, I'm going to end up picking Jacob Fatu. I think it makes the most sense. I think it would give Jacob yet another big moment in a big environment. And I think it would be a very, very needed breath of fresh air away from Solo and away from kind of the bloodline story that this has kind of been going through. So I do have Jacob Fatu winning. And again, my big hope is that the wild and crazy shenanigans that are probably going to take place isn't going to hurt the steel cage stipulation. Up next, we have the match that, in my opinion, when SummerSlam is all said and done, it would not surprise me one bit if this ends up being match of the entire weekend. I'm talking about the 6-team TLC match between DIY, the Street Profits, Fraxium, Andrade and Rey Fenix, the Wyatt Six, and Motor City Machine Guns. This match should be insanely good. The SmackDown Tag Team division has been one of the best parts of WWE TV entirely over the course of 2025. It has been such a damn good story involving all 6 of these teams. And given how poorly and abysmal the Raw Tag Team division is right now, seeing how unbelievably good the SmackDown Tag division is just such a breath of fresh air if you like tag team matches. And considering the fact that at WrestleMania, WWE decided to go with The New Day taking on the War Raiders, these 6 teams deserve to have this moment. As for who I see winning, I have no idea, because I could see any one of these 6 teams realistically winning and just continuing to be an amazing division. So this one is gonna be a bit of a hot take maybe, and a bit of out of left field. I'm actually gonna pick Andrade and Rey Fenix. Again, this is one that I'm not expecting to get right, and quite frankly, I don't care who wins. I'm just here for what should be an insanely good match again. But I pick Andrade and Rey Fenix because I think Andrade, up to this point, since he made his return, hasn't necessarily been the best, but since he has joined Rey Fenix in this tag team, they've been so freaking good together that I wouldn't mind seeing them as tag champions at all. So again, is it going to be out of left field if Andrade and Rey Fenix win? Yes, but that is not going to take away from the fact that this match is going to be one of, if not the best, when SummerSlam 2025 is all said and done. Moving from one match that is going to be talked about as one of the best matches of SummerSlam to another that is going to be right in that same conversation. And that is the Women's World Championship match, which is a triple threat between Naomi, Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky. Given what we saw out of Io Sky and Rhea Ripley at Evolution, this match should be just as good, if not better, when you add Naomi into the mix. This current version of Naomi and the unpredictability of what she's going to do throughout the course of a match, her character work has been off the charts good. This match is going to be absolutely insane. Now, I do have Naomi winning and retaining simply because I could see a lot of different scenarios happening. I could see Rhea Ripley and Io Sky kind of going off by themselves a little bit and kind of reliving what we saw at Evolution. That obviously would allow Naomi to kind of come in and pull out the victory. I do think that the finish of this match, regardless of who wins, there's gonna be some sort of shenanigans involved. And with it being a triple threat, it's almost a foregone conclusion. Another reason why I have Naomi winning is because we have seen them tease her and Stephanie Valquer, and Stephanie Valquer is obviously next in line at Clash in Paris. So while it may not be the most obvious choice, I think it makes the most sense. So again, this match going to be absolutely insane. I have Naomi winning, and I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the ride. Moving on to what has been my favorite feud so far of 2025, and that is Becky Lynch taking on Lyra Valkyria for the women's IC title. I have talked at lengths about how good this feud has been, not just for Becky Lynch, not just for Lyra Valkyria, but for the women's IC title division in general. This has been the perfect feud for this division, for this title, for both Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria. Throughout the course of this feud, Lyra Valkyria has been getting better and better and better, and she is starting to form that connection with the crowd that she was kind of missing. Meanwhile, Becky Lynch has been doing some of the best heel work that I have seen in a long time. And again, when 2025 is all said and done, this is probably going to be my favorite feud from the entire year. Just because it has done so much, not just for the superstars involved, but for the entire championship and the entire division. Now, as for who I have winning, I think it's going to be Lyra Valkyria. Again, she has gotten better and better and better throughout the course of this match, and I think it would be a very, very satisfying conclusion to what has been such a damn good feud. Moving on to the main event of SummerSlam 2025, John Cena and Cody Rhodes in a street fight. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about this match because I do have a video coming out later this week about this match. The feud itself has been okay. I think the WrestleMania match left a lot of people bitter about how it all went down. But with that being said, this match, I feel like, should be a very, very good match. I think it needed the street fight stipulation, and I just don't really think that Cody Rhodes and John Cena are going to allow yet another bad match happen. Now, as for Cody Rhodes, we're going to be seeing him taking some significant time off while he's off filming. So he's not going to be here for quite some time, which would lead me to believe that John Cena is going to win and retain. And that is who I have winning, is John Cena, simply because, again, we're not going to see Cody Rhodes for a while after this match. So I think John Cena makes the most sense. You can have him go off into Clash in Paris with a new feud and with a heel run that is starting to get good. I think we could be in for a very, very fun ride after this match. So this is where I want to hear from you guys. What did you think about the build to this year's SummerSlam? And also let me know what you think about the match card. And also let me know what you guys think about my predictions down below. Do you agree with them? Do you not agree with them? Let me know why you agree or disagree. As always, let me know that stuff down below in the comments. And while you're down there, swing by the description and click the Linktree link. That is the only link in bio for a reason, and that is because it will take you to all of the social media platforms for this channel. I do suggest going and checking out our X page. Besides YouTube, I'm most active over on X. We do updates for Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, and the PLEs. And above all else, I want the X page to be a place for wrestling fans to go and talk about wrestling, especially if you're like me and you don't have a lot of people to talk to about wrestling. So if you are like me and you're looking for a group of wrestling fans to talk about wrestling with, swing by an upcoming episode of Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown. SummerSlam is obviously happening this weekend, so I will be providing updates for all of those shows. So if you are watching SummerSlam this weekend and you happen to come across one of my tweets, join in on the conversation. Maybe it's for you at the end of the day. With all that said and done, that is going to do it for this video here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button. If you really enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button. Both are free and both really help out the channel a lot. And if you have made it to this point of the video, I want to say thank you very, very much for taking the time out of your busy day to watch these videos here. As always, stay tuned for more WWE content coming in the future. We'll see you next time.